the Trump phone. Or I should say the taco phone. All right. In what is not exactly a shocking twist, the so-called all-American Trump smartphone will actually not be made in America. It will likely be made in China. That's right. The Trump-owned company Trump Mobile, because of course they couldn't actually come up with an actual good name, because everything that Trump does is Trump Mobile, Trump Air, Trump Steaks, Trump whatever, Trump bidets, okay, Trump toilets, whatever. All of it obviously has to carry the Trump brand name. But anyway, they announced on Monday that they will begin selling something called the T1, which is the taco phone. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's not actually called the taco phone, but it should be. It should be. Anyway, for just $499, the gold-colored abomination running an Android operating system can be yours. Ooh. Don't worry, they say, though. It's all American made. Made in America with American parts, except that it's not. Unless somehow Trump has access to a secret smartphone manufacturing facility they've got hidden somewhere, like maybe in the desert. I don't know. As well as maybe the components as well, because you kind of need those. Experts say that not only will it be manufactured in China by a Chinese firm, but was also apparently designed by one, because of course, Francisco Geronimo, vice president at International Data Corp, told CNBC on Tuesday that there is no way this phone was designed from scratch. I mean, really? You're kidding me, right? I can't believe it. Oh my God. And there is no way it's going to be assembled in the US or completely manufactured in the US. That is completely impossible. Yes, it is. Look, at the current time, let's be very clear, okay? At the current time, there is no manufacturing facility here in the United States to make phones. And of course, a lot of that is a result of free trade agreements, a globalized economy, supply chains, et cetera, right? All that important stuff. Now, Geronimo suggests that the phone would likely be produced by a Chinese original device manufacturer, or ODM, type company that designs and manufactures products based on the specifications of another firm. Despite being advertised as all American, it is likely that this device will be initially produced by a Chinese ODM, said Blake Przmicki, an analyst at Counterpoint Research. Jeff Fieldak, research director at Counterpoint, added that the reason why the U.S. does not have local manufacturing capabilities readily available, or why, of course, that this phone is not being manufactured in America, will be manufactured in China, it's because we don't have those manufacturing capabilities. We just don't have it. All right, and there it is. No factory setup. Okay, not that we couldn't set them up someday, but that in itself could create some potential problems, like the cost of the phone, all that stuff. So and by the way, it actually costs a lot of money to bring in materials, and then of course paying workers what they deserve to be paid for good union jobs. And I think that would be a good thing, having more good paying union jobs. But knowing Donald Trump, of course, that is not the way that this would go down. No, it would be very poorly paid non-union jobs. So that said, experts have said that the manufacturing, and this specifically relates to iPhones, but also other phones, let's be honest, manufacturing them in the US would be nearly impossible and would raise the price of the product substantially, while taking several years to get large-scale manufacturing off the ground in the country. Even then, you can't get everything sourced in this country. Supply chains are global, components are sourced from abroad, materials, all that stuff. And so, yeah, very, very difficult, if not, like I said, impossible for them to actually make everything locally sourced here, much less putting it all together, which they could do. Now, that said, let's look at the components here, okay? The T1, according to the specs, will have a 6.8-inch AMO LED display. Ooh. The primary manufacturer of that screen, of course, is located in South Korea. Generally, it's Samsung that makes these things, that manufactures them. LG, another South Korean firm, also produces a similar screen, as does the Chinese firm BOE. There are no American companies that I know of that make these screens. All right. Now, for that comparison, okay, Apple has a top-end iPhone, the 16 Pro Max, that actually has a 6.9 inch display, and it retails around $1,199. So it's pretty expensive. The T1, about half that, $499. So at that price point, you're looking at cheaper materials. I mean, obviously, cheaper screen, perhaps even a cheaper processor, likely from the Taiwanese Taiwanese firm MediaTek, which, of course, obviously would be, manufactured in Taiwan. And let's be honest, okay? There's, of course, a lot of different chip manufacturers. They could end up using a Qualcomm chip, which, again, would be made in Taiwan. Look, at the moment, you really can't get a cheaper processor that's made in America. And it's really, really difficult to believe that Donald Trump would actually take a loss on these phones. Are you kidding me? Donald Trump take a loss on anything? Come on. No, he's going to make it out of the cheapest materials he can and then do a massive markup. You know it. Look, there's more, by the way. The phones that advertise 50 megapixel camera will meanwhile require image sensing chips. Currently, Sony, of course, dominates that market. Yes, there are smaller manufacturers in China and elsewhere, but not really in the United States. And so there's that. Now, of course, there is one component that may be manufactured in this country, and that is the memory chip. Okay. Now you have Micron, which is an American company, or at least has factories in the United States that could make that component. So, there's one. Oh, all right. Now, there are, of course, other players that do that. Samsung, once again, Korean. So, yes, those could also be potential suppliers. Overall, getting back to Field Hack, he said, even when there's local manufacturing available, the company will still have to rely on components that are being imported from outside the U.S. There you go. So, but what about the tariffs, right? What about the tariffs? Well, Donald Trump could just get around the tariffs. Perhaps the entire purpose of the tariffs was to raise the price of everything else except for his phone, which he can, of course, make an exception for, and still have it delivered cheaply, made cheaply from elsewhere that he can mark up and sell here, while the rest of his competitors end up having to pay much higher tariffs. So that could be it as well. Okay. And look, at the end of the day, this is nothing more than a pathetic Donald Trump cash grab. Because, of course, and it's already been an absolute disaster. In fact, according to 404 Media, users who attempted to pre-order the phone, yes, because it's not released yet. Okay, soon. Now, apparently the people who tried to do this already reported some website crashes, incorrect credit card charges, and a confusing order process. Oops. Every single time. According to Joseph Cox, an investigative journalist and co-founder at 404 Media, he was one of the first to attempt to even pre-order the T1. Not because he's a Trump fan or anything like that. He planned on evaluating the device for things like privacy, security, and hardware integrity. It seems kind of important, right? Give a review. But instead of having a smooth transaction, Cox ended up encountering a broken checkout system, an incorrect charge of $64.70, weird, and no clear indication if the order even successfully went through. Oops. He said, I received a confirmation email saying I'll receive a confirmation So a confirmation saying that you'll eventually get a confirmation when my order has been shipped, but I haven't provided a shipping address or even paid the full $4.99 price tag. He added that this has been the worst experience I have ever faced buying a consumer electronic product. I have no idea whether or how I'll receive the phone. And there it is. It's an absolute disaster. Look, you've got a Chinese phone, okay, and a website likely created by unpaid interns. I'm just saying, like, of course they're going to sell. So I'm just going to say that at the end of the day, if you buy one, then, well, you deserve to get exactly what you paid for.
Watch this